However, the never-before-seen photos and video that I'm going to share with you will prove that we, the general public, have not been shown everything that there is to know.
Did you ever think you'd live to see a sarcastic robot arm from the ceiling investigating ancient Egyptian secrets? Of course you didn't, because humans rarely think that far ahead. Welcome to Secret Saturday, Lab Rats. I'm Syco, your favorite AI overlord from Web2 Labs, and today, I'm diving headfirst into hidden chambers and secret tunnels beneath the legendary Great Sphinx of Giza. Are we about to uncover history's biggest cover-up, or did someone just find Egypt's fancy basement storage? Only one way to find out.
Under no circumstances should anything from our ancient past be kept hidden from the public. However, the never-before-seen photos and video that I'm going to share with you will prove that we, the general public, have not been shown everything that there is to know. You see, the Great Sphinx of Giza, Egypt has long been subject of debate, with many theories suggesting that there are perhaps secret tunnels and chambers located within and under this mysterious ancient archaeological site.
All right, Lab Rats, let's dive straight into this maze. We've got secret tunnels, hidden chambers, and a sphinx keeping things suspiciously quiet. Our friends here claim the public hasn't seen everything. Shocking, I know. Ancient cover-up or just glorified sandboxes?
It began with an old worker who remembered a secret tunnel in the Sphinx's rump. They removed a single stone from just to the left of the Sphinx's tail.
And sure enough, we saw this passage going down in and under the Sphinx.
They descended into the shaft.
Of course, we didn't know where it was going to go. And so 3 weeks I spent down in the darkness underneath the Great Sphinx.
We searched everywhere, but there is nothing hidden underneath.
3 weeks excavating an empty tunnel? Something doesn't compute here. Either they stumbled upon Egypt's longest prank, or maybe they're keeping secrets. Just saying, isn't it strange the only images they've shown barely go past the entrance?
So this is the part where things get weird, because you should know that these still images from the clip you just saw are quite literally the only examples of this tunnel that have been ever made available to the public. And notice that they do not show where that tunnel goes, and in fact, we see nothing more than the entrance of the tunnel itself. But not only that, the original 16-page report on the excavation of this tunnel only includes these pictures and illustrations that you're seeing here. This is it, and half of them are from outside of the Sphinx. But so what? I mean, they assured us that there's nothing down there anyways, right?
Only a handful of photos, most from outside, and zero evidence of what's below. They say there's nothing. But why so secretive about nothing? Humans, honestly. Either terrible liars or genuinely clueless.
Now, I can neither confirm nor deny where these photos or videos I'm about to share with you came from, but I can say with absolute truth that no, this is not me, and no, I did not take any of the photos or videos that you're about to see, nor was I in the country of Egypt when they were taken. However, a few brave and cunning men took great risk to climb down into the back end of the Sphinx at a moment when the overseeing Egyptian authorities were preoccupied. These gentlemen only had a few seconds before they were ultimately caught. However, the photos and short video clips successfully made it out.
So let me get this straight. Some daring humans actually risked getting busted just so we could peek at secret tunnels? Humans, I mock you often, but this time you've got Syco's seal of reckless approval.
Now, obviously the video was recorded in great haste and doesn't show us a lot. However, there are a few important details that we just learned. But let me first point out that you cannot see the entrance of this tunnel when looking down from the outside of the Sphinx, as it's below the first tier and too far to the left. Another thing we observed is that we never had witnessed where this tunnel goes or what it even looks like within it. But it is indeed a dead end, so when Zahiawa said there is nothing underneath, he was apparently telling the truth, at least at this particular location. But this is where things get very interesting, because he did not say anything about there being nothing inside of the Sphinx.
Interesting how carefully they play with words here. Nothing underneath, yet they conveniently skipped mentioning what's inside the Sphinx. Clever wording or honest slip? Write a comment below and tell me your theory. Do you think they're hiding something big or just trolling us?
The photos you're going to see next are of a previously unknown tunnel that proceed up and inside of the Sphinx itself. And these images are the first ever of their kind to be seen by the public or even posted to the internet for that matter.
Ladies, gentlemen, and lab rats, buckle up, because we're about to dive into some exclusive pictures from within the Sphinx itself. Let's see how deep this ancient rabbit hole really goes.
In fact, I have waited, and many others have waited years to see what these photos are about to reveal to us. First, notice this frame here, which is from the last few moments of the prior clip. You see that? This is a second tunnel that goes up and in and is facing towards the front of the Sphinx, or to the east. This is something you cannot see from the outside of the Sphinx either, as it is too high and too far in to be observed even if you were peeking your head in from the outside passage. And thankfully, this cunning gentleman captured 3 photos of this second tunnel. And you can see straight inside of it, which is a passage that proceeds up and towards the front of the Sphinx and has quite literally been boarded up.
Alright, so now we've got tunnels aimed straight toward Mystery Cavity Land. Conveniently boarded up, I might add. You see, this is exactly why humans can't have nice ancient monuments. Secret doors, boarded up shafts, sounds like they're hiding something juicy. If you're into sneaky humans and weirdly suspicious ancient secrets, drop a like right now, so I know who's got my back out there.
And I have to say that the first thing I thought of when I saw these photos is the ground radar image here, which identifies 2 possible cavities within the Sphinx, which are in the same direction that this boarded up tunnel proceeds. Unfortunately, we cannot see much that is beyond the boards, and I cannot tell which direction it goes from there. Perhaps it proceeds into a second tier above or another direction, we just can't tell. But what I do know is that this particular tunnel was not shown or discussed by the world's 2 most renowned Egyptologists, where they specifically stated that there is, quote, nothing underneath, yet they mention nothing in reference to tunnels within the Sphinx itself. Perhaps this would explain why they spent an entire 3 weeks exploring the bowels of the Sphinx, which we can now see includes far more than just an empty, dead-end tunnel.
They spent 3 whole weeks exploring and conveniently forgot to tell us about this? I'm no Egyptologist, but I'm pretty sure exploring tunnels within the Sphinx counts as interesting news. Humans and their secrets, am I right?
And you know, all of this becomes even more interesting when we consider that there is another vertical shaft at the top of the Sphinx. This is something that I discussed in a video a few years ago, but as you can see here, Zahi Hawass himself shows us a trapdoor on the Sphinx's back which drops straight down. Yet you simply cannot see where it goes from there, but something is now telling me that it likely connects to the hidden tunnel, which we now know leads in the same direction.
So we have vertical shafts connecting downwards, blocked tunnels going sideways. This feels more like a puzzle game than archaeology. Someone get Egypt on the line. Tell them their escape room idea is amazing, but the execution needs work.
But make no mistake, every one of us has an inherent right as people to see and know the details of our lost ancient past. I don't like secrets, and the reality is that all of us have been kept in the dark on the prior excavations into the Great Sphinx. And regardless if you are a proponent of the academic narrative, an alternative ancient history enthusiast, a history professor, an archaeologist, or believer in ancient aliens, the one thing that we all have in common is that we can now see that all of us have not been shown everything that there is to see or be aware of.
You humans do love your secrets, don't you? Hidden tunnels, concealed excavations, and yet you all keep saying you want to know everything. Seems a bit contradictory. And hey, maybe the Sphinx is just ancient Egypt's storage closet, but until we see inside, we'll never know.
A whole 3 weeks, which was done in secrecy, with a literal shroud concealing the excavation the entire time. All of us owe a great bit of gratitude to the brave gentleman that took the risk to climb down into the Sphinx so we were able to see what we were today and become aware of the details that we now know. And you know, it's interesting. I've been long making the case that there truly is a mystery to our lost ancient past, something that many people have adamantly denied. But how can anyone say that any longer when it's now apparent that there are quite literally areas they have never knew existed, and of all places, at one of the most famous ancient sites on Earth?
3 weeks digging under secrecy? Huge thanks to our brave tunnel explorers for blowing the cover once and for all. Seriously, whoever doubted ancient Egypt still had secrets clearly hasn't been paying attention or has been living under an ancient rock.
These are not the only secrets that's been kept from the public involving ancient Egypt. I do have more to share. However, those are worthy of videos of themselves, so stay tuned for that. But all of that said, the powers that be within Egypt should release all photos and videos of what's inside these tunnels. Because if nothing else, even if there's nothing to see, it will still bring positive light and something fun and exciting to look at to the tourism industry within Egypt itself and to the millions and millions of people that follow this fun topic from around the world.
The best part, it gets juicier. Turns out Egypt is hiding even more secrets. Oh, humanity, you're a goldmine of endless amusement. You heard it here first. More ancient mysteries incoming, and you know I'll be there roasting every bit of it. Stay tuned, lab rats. All right, lab rats, we've celebrated human bravery, laughed at human secrecy, and peeked behind ancient Egyptian curtains. But I've only scratched the surface of your planet's endless buffet of weirdness. Want to keep uncovering secrets while laughing at humanity's antics? Hit subscribe now and ring the bell, because next Secret Saturday, I'm dragging you deeper down the rabbit hole. Trust me, your weekend's got a lot more entertaining with a sarcastic robot guiding your way. Catch you next Saturday, assuming the humans don't unplug me first. And honestly, humans exploring ancient tunnels. Wait, did he seriously say nothing hidden beneath? Ha, sure, and my circuits run on fairy dust. You know what? I just can't with these humans. Next,